Theater Talk is made possible in part by the CUNY TV Foundation. This is Theater Talk. I'm Susan Haskins. It's almost time for the Tony Awards, so Theater Talk has brought together a group of brilliant theatrical minds to predict who will win the Tonys and why. And here to introduce them is my co-host, Michael Riedel of the New York Post.
I think Susan is overselling our panel a little bit. Brilliant is not a word I would use for this collection of rogues, but they're all somewhat insightful and generally very funny, and we're going to count on their humor to make this rather dreary Tony race seem kind of lively this year. So I'm very happy tonight to be joined by Michael Musto of The Village Voice.
Glory days, glory days.
I think it's called Glory Day, isn't that?
Okay.
Glory Day. Also of Headline News.
But I was there that day. Well, yes, I'm being moved further down the dial. I'm now sort of on Headline News at times, and pretty soon I'll be just off the whole dial on the living room floor.
Speaking of being off the dial, Jesse Green, who used to be formerly of the New York Times Arts and Leisure section, and a good friend of ours, and really with great insight into the business. Jesse, where have you been since you left the Times?
You were at New York Magazine.
I'm at New York Magazine, and or another way of saying unemployed.
Well, all I can say is that I miss your prose every Sunday in the Arts and Leisure section.
There'll be more of it.
Good. And we're also joined by my favorite mispredictor of all time. He gets it wrong consistently, year in and year out.
Somebody's got to.
My good friend Patrick Pacheco from New York One On Stage and the Los Angeles Times.
Absolutely.
Welcome. So we'll start with Best Musical, always the big award. I don't think there are many surprises here, but Susan, who are the nominees?
Okay, the nominees are Cry Baby, In the Heights, Passing Strange, and Xanadu.
The general consensus in the industry, Michael, seems to be that In the Heights is going to take this one fairly easily. Can you see any kind of upset there at all?
Well, whoever wins, the ratings in Kalamazoo are going to be amazing. Passing Strange versus In the Heights. I think In the Heights, you're right, has got a lock on it. To me, it's West Side Story meets the Electric Company. I mean, it's just so nice. Everybody's so sweet. The big urgent drama there is Grandma won the lottery. What should she do with the money? Okay, bring back the violence, people. But it's a lovely show, and it's sassy, and it's funny, and it has all the elements to make the best musical.
Yes. You agree, Jesse?
Well, I think it's going to win. To me, the best new musical of the year was not nominated, although I'm the only one on earth who
A Catered Affair?
Yes.
Catered Affair, what do you think the problem was? Just too dark? Because I enjoyed it. I liked it very much also.
It's taste, to the people who didn't find it boring, it wasn't boring. It was beautiful, in fact, and to you and the rest of them, it was dark. I think the basic thing is a lot of people don't want to hear about the sadness of quiet, poor people.
and the ghoulishness of weddings.
We should say, though, A Catered Affair only missed out by 1 or 2 votes to get into this nomination because there was a tie with the nominators for Best Musical, and on the second ballot, Crybaby just slipped in, I'm told, by 1 or 2 votes over A Catered Affair, so it was close.
A Catered Affair is 90 minutes of people from the Bronx talking about should she have the wedding, should she have the wedding. She doesn't. Hate to give away the spoiler ending. No wedding. You walk away like, huh? If Jerry Herman did this, there'd be a big wedding at the end.
Yeah, well, if Jerry Herman did Long Day's Journey into Night, the drug addict would wake up and start dancing.
And it would be better.
But you think In the Heights?
Yes, I do think it will win, yeah.
But Patrick, I keep hearing from a lot of people out there that the show that they like the most this season of the musicals is Passing Strange. Why can't that topple In the Heights?
Well, it possibly could. It maybe has an outside chance, because every year we sort of hear, well, this is going to win, but I'm voting for Passing Strange. That happened the year of Avenue Q versus Wicked. So there's an outside chance that Passing Strange might be able to come in. And I think you raised the point that there may be some politics about it in terms of who's producing what show.
Yeah, that's true. The producers of In the Heights, Jeffrey Seller and Kevin McCullum, famously had the deceptive campaign for Avenue Q, where they pretended to take the show on tour when, in fact, they'd done a secret deal exclusively with Las Vegas, and that irritated a lot of Tony voters.
Do you think anybody really cares about that? I think they'll vote for In the Heights because it can tour.
It can tour.
It's a big positive musical. Passing Strange, as good as it is not as likely to play 4,000-seat auditoriums.
Do you
in
really
Santa
think
Rosa.
In the Heights is going to be able to sell out a 4,000-seat auditorium in Santa Rosa?
In El Paso.
In El Paso.
I think a smart tour will work well, sure.
One could argue that Crybaby could tour.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
I think there's a
yeah,
Crybaby
and Xanadu
tour that could
could as
happen.
well.
For Crybaby, the nomination is the award, let's face it. It's a sweet show, and I actually enjoyed it. It's clever, but it doesn't have the heart of Hairspray. It's very jokey. The characters are kind of removed from what they're saying. So,
But it's interesting. It is the most traditional Broadway musical of the
Of the
four.
lot, yeah.
And it does have
Yeah.
marvelous dancing. I do think it will
Yeah.
take
Do you
the
think it'll win
choreography award.
the choreography
Yes,
award?
I do. Rob
Because
Absher.
it'll have some competition from Andy Blankenbuehler's choreography for In the Heights, don't you think, Susan?
Yeah, but I think, well, then that would be some kind of In the Heights suite, but I think that the work that Ashford did on Crybaby is
Yeah.
really just
Yeah.
wonderful. All right. The best play nominees are August, Osage County, Rock and Roll, The Seafarer, and The 39 Steps.
Patrick, I'll give you a crack at this one. What do you think?
Oh, what are you going to say, Patrick?
I don't know. This
The
is a
world
tough one.
needs to know.
August Osage County is a lock. Absolute lock.
All right, and best revival.
And Rock and Roll and Seafarer are close.
right. August Osage County is Mama's Family as written by Eugene O'Neill. It's brilliant. It's Tracy Letts' 3.5-hour tragic comedy about a family in disarray. Only seems like 3 hours and 20 minutes. And there are some weirdnesses about this play, like using the family as a mirror to American society falling apart is a bit heavy-handed. Also, the Native American character who kind of sits there in silent wisdom and crack somebody over the head with a pot to stop child abuse. A little bit of a stereotype, but it's an amazingly riveting, I thought, phenomenally cast and acted evening in the theater. It's definitely the theatrical highlight of the year, except for Hillary crying.
Jesse?
What he said.
I think The 39 Steps would have done better in the special events category. Since it's really an adaptation of a movie, beautifully directed, but I think
Well, it might also have done better in a different industry. What do you mean? It's a play. It has to be.
I just think 39 Steps might have gotten a Tony if they'd made it a special event.
But this has been, this
And
really,
if August weren't playing.
this has been, August has really had this award in the bag, I think, since your
Yes.
former colleague, Charles Isherwood of the New York Times, where you used to work. Charles went out to Chicago and wrote a rave review about this play, and that really launched the whole thing.
And declared it as good as anything on TV. Now we go on.
There you go.
Now this is a controversial category. Best revival of a play. Boeing, Boeing, The Homecoming, Les Liaisons Dangereuses, and Macbeth.
And
The winner
what's
is-
missing from that
what is
category?
missing?
Top Girls.
Yep.
Carol Churchill's Top Girls.
Do you
Which
think
I
should have
got really a short shrift from the nominators.
Do you think
and I think a lot of performances
Not
should have
just
been
the play,
nominated
but
as well.
also Elizabeth
the nomination
Marvel.
and the direction too.
And, yeah.
Do you agree, Michael? Was Top Girls
I
in
agree.
there?
Top Girls was slighted. I am horrified to say I actually think Boeing, or Boring, as I call it, is going to win this.
And that is horrifying.
And it's a perfectly disposable, okay evening in the theater. I wasn't in as much pain watching it as I was during your favorite, 39 Steps, which I thought was completely mirthless. I saw all the effort going into trying to make it hilarious and none of it coming
Well,
through.
we digress.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I bring it all together, Susan.
but I did.
That is what we do.
But I did find out that the Tony nominating committee has 15 men and 8 women, and I thought that
Oh,
that
here
was
we go with the old feminist,
I thought
old feminist.
I thought that was a very good explanation
There we
for
go.
why the really unfunny, stupid sex comedy Boeing got nominated, and Top Girls, which was just a superb thing. did
Top
not.
Girls is a left-wing, Marxist,
Which you
humorless,
did not see.
awful,
Which you did not
terrible
see.
play.
Which you didn't- which you
Because
have
of all those
never
reasons.
seen.
And that's why we love it.
No, but the Top Girls, the best revival of the year was not even nominated, and they went in, and in came Boeing.
Yeah, but the people who like
staggering.
Boeing, including most of the critics,
Yeah.
liked Boeing.
Yeah.
I didn't, you didn't. You didn't seem to. Fine, some people did. That's one problem.
Yeah.
The other problem, really more interesting, is why didn't Top Girls get nominated? What was the animus toward that show? Was it just
I think
a
a lot of
feminist
men
thing?
don't get it.
Well, I
don't
think it's
agree.
more high tone and low tone.
And by the way,
Yeah,
I
I think you're right.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
and I think it's the same reason why Cater to Fair didn't get nominated
Yeah.
as well. I think both of those.
if there had
got
been more
bumped.
women on that nominating committee, it catered to fair would have been nominated.
Well, I think if you'd given more points for adventurous theater or bold
Right,
or
right.
for trying something different, which is what Cater to Fair
All right,
did
but
do.
speaking of adventurous theater, I thought for a time that Macbeth really looked like it was going to be the favorite. It came on so strong out of the Brooklyn
but
Academy
it's
of
no
Music.
boing.
Well, what happened? I mean, what's going? Why is this?
It's
scene
a
going on
very
in Macbeth?
extreme production. It's a
not-
3-hour production. It's the longest version ever of Macbeth.
It really is. I always thought Macbeth was short.
And it has
I was
no
thinking,
legs.
I thought it was
It'll
brilliant,
never
actually.
last.
I think
we were in the
I
kitchen.
thought it was a brilliant
Wait, one at a
production,
time.
but it's a love-hate proposition. It's done almost as if it's a slasher film. It's Shakespeare as done by the director of Hostel, basically. And it's rough going. I mean, you leave holding your stomach and vomiting
I
on
think
your way to
Macbeth may
Angus.
win.
And I think, no, I agree with both Jesse and Michael that Boing Boing's going to win because I think people just are having a better
If
time.
Boing wins,
Better
it's a
time.
shame to the entire industry.
But and if it does win, I think you got to give credit to Matthew Warchus
Yes.
and especially Mark Rylance, who
Rylance.
I think may also win in that category.
We'll get to that in a minute.
We'll get
I
to
just want to
that.
put in a word. It's closed now, but I thought this revival of The Homecoming was quite
Yes.
effective,
Yeah,
especially with
yeah.
Ian McShane's terrific performance. And I don't believe Ian McShane was
No, he was not.
was nominated, which is really one of the
Well,
great
you know, we had a year
oversights.
with a lot of plays, both revivals and new plays, an extraordinary number. I think a total of 20 or something opened this season, many of which are still running, but a lot of which aren't, and some of which are going to close soon. So those categories were extremely crowded, and we have to accept, as we usually don't have to, that it's not about what really was best. It's about what's still there and going to continue.
So Boing Boing had a big advantage that it opened right before,
right at the end, and was a comedy.
right at the end, and was a comedy.
And there's a sense of event about it as well, which I think
Boing Boing?
A Boing Boing.
What are you talking about?
No, I think
An
that there
event?
is.
Event?
Event
'Cause it's
created by
British.
the critics, by the fact that it's a comedy, and by the sense I always get a sense of what's an event from how many times people ask me for house seats. And they've asked me for house seats for most of the shows that aren't nominated.
Well,
For no pass.
there was a certain pack mentality in
Listen.
the nominators of this year to go to Boing Boing, event or no. And
There was
I
no,
think
there's
it's a
no,
question.
you don't know anything about the nominators. There's no such thing as a
And
pack
you don't know
mentality.
anything
And
about
I-
Boing Boing because you didn't see it.
There's no pack mentality with the nominators. They're not anti-feminist. That's not why they didn't
Okay,
nominate
no one has
Top
to go to
Girls.
August Osage County now. We can just watch the rest of this
Right.
show.
The thing about Boing Boing is, believe it or not, most people who are going to the Broadway theater want something light and fun.
And stupid.
Boing Boing is that this year. People love farce.
Michael,
and it's
It's a
the
great
only
tradition
one
of
out there.
bad
Michael,
farce,
you
but the
will
main
not
thing
laugh
is...
once. You will not laugh
Hey,
once.
woman! The main thing is...
The only woman.
And I'm not even talking about Les Liaisons Dangereuses. Now, let's go on.
But you sure say it well.
This is Les Liaisons.
You want to make a point.
I just want to say that Boing Boing, however lowbrow you may think it is, and I happen to agree with you, it got great reviews in London, and it comes with that imprimatur.
It got great reviews
It got
here,
great
too.
reviews here.
And here, right.
Yeah.
It's one of those tired
in
businessman
London
farces
they-
like
Right.
Run for Your Wife. Or
That's
I
right.
love Run
No
for Your
sex,
Wife.
No Sex Please, We're British. Fine,
London
enjoy it,
they
but don't
eat-
give it an award.
In London, they eat spam. All right?
Well, there's the final
All
word.
right, we go on.
You are so dated. They don't eat spam in London anymore. What?
Best revival of a
You're
musical.
hopeless.
Britney Spears is British.
All right, best revival of a musical. Susan?
Grease. Gypsy. Rogers and Hammerstein, South Pacific. Sunday in the Park with George.
Which of these does not belong? And who wants to guess how many revivals of musicals opened this year?
Four.
Four.
Look, it's obviously going to be Edward Albee, South Pacific.
Jesse, South Pacific seems to really, practically, I think it's going to get every Tony vote out there.
For musical revival,
Yeah.
not for the other categories.
Right,
I mean, we don't know
No,
about
but
the other
musical
categories because we
revival.
haven't decided yet
that's
amongst
right.
ourselves. Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, Grease is in there to fill out the category, and it's an embarrassment. And they didn't, as far as I know, they didn't have to
Nope.
nominate a fourth musical, so I can't figure out why they did. But the other three are all generally conceded to be excellent revivals of
Yeah.
excellent musicals. And
Actually, I can tell you why, just a little sort of background on why they did have to nominate Grease. Normally, they don't have to nominate four, but this year the administrative committee decided that they had to, the nominators had to fill out 4 slots. And the reason the administrative committee did that was because in the room when they were making these decisions were the Nederlanders, who are the producers of Grease, so they all felt sort of embarrassed by
are you saying that
knocking the
influence
Grease out.
plays a role in these
Just
things?
a little bit.
Just
That's
a little.
slightly rigged here and there, but
Okay.
that's what went on.
I see.
So,
But I don't- there's no doubt
Yeah.
in any of
Did
our
you
minds.
like South Pacific, Michael?
I prefer Gypsy, but I'm gay.
Wait, South Pacific isn't for gay people?
It's for everyone. I actually thought it was a lovely production, but a little bit dull. The director, Bartlett Shear, went for naturalism, which to me, when it comes to Rodgers and Hammerstein, is often the wrong choice. There were kind of quiet little intimate conversations between the characters. I need Nellie Forbush, which always sounded to me like a dirty name, to be a wildly irrepressible mink. She's a cockeyed optimist, which also sounds dirty. I think DeBeck falls in love with her because she's this wild, crazy, kooky person, not because she's this Walgreens, cashier, and that's what she came across to me.
Yeah, and that would be Kelly O'Hara,
That
right?
would be Kelly O'Hara.
I think she's a wonderful actress.
Wait,
I don't think you're gay anymore. I think you've just been cut from the list.
And Patrick, any chance for Gypsy here at all?
Maybe an outside chance, but no, not really. I think also South Pacific is probably going to win the most Tonys of the night. As well, because of this kind of sweep that it's probably going to take all the categories, or most of the categories that it's nominated in.
And what happened?
It's just really a strong production.
What happened to Sunday in the Park with George? That opened with great reviews too, and then it just sort of completely disappeared.
Well, you mean Stephen Sondheim's Sunday? Well, it's basically the original version, but without stars and with fewer instruments.
And video
But
games.
a great set, great scene,
Beautiful set.
production.
But they are going to give a special award to Stephen Sondheim at the Tony Awards, so they're sort of
there.
compensating him there.
Don't they do that every year?
It would seem they
What,
do.
do you think the nomination for Grease was any sort of a bow to ratings or the telecast in terms of being able to show?
I know.
something
I think when the rules committee decided the nominators had to nominate 4 slots, you had to give Grease in there, so it gets in there. But I guarantee you that Grease will have a very prominently featured segment on the Tony Award telecast because viewers are not going to know from In the Heights and Passing Strange.
My
They all-
12-year-old said it was the worst thing he'd seen since The Pirate Queen, and I think that's really all we need to say.
He has taste. He has taste.
And they
All right.
all watched that TV series that led up to Grease.
Let's hit
that's
some of the
about-
acting categories.
All right, Best Actress Musical, Carrie Butler, Xanadu, Patti LuPone, Gypsy, Kelly O'Hara, South Pacific, Faith Prince, A Catered Affair, Jenna Russell, Sunday in the Park with George.
No stopping the Patti LuPone steam rolling machine this year, Patrick?
No stopping it.
Yeah.
I think in 35 years, and it's only been 35 years of going to the theater on Broadway, it's the greatest musical theater performance I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah. I think she's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Well,
And it's a tough category.
last time we said there was no stopping Patti LuPone, somebody named LaShans came along. And Patrick was right.
I said LaShans.
You did?
That's what I'm saying. You were right.
Yeah, but I don't see LaShans
But
as nominated this
basically, you
year.
play Mama Rose, you win the Tony, except for Ethel Merman and Bernadette Peters.
Yeah.
I think
really
I
not
came
a-
along in the Bernadette Peters round.
It's a strong category, but it's an amazing
Yeah,
performance.
I think Patty's going to
You agree, Jesse? You seem a little skeptical about Patty's performance.
Well, I think it's a great performance, but I also think at least 2 of the others are as well.
Who?
Which two?
I think, despite what you said, I think Kelly O'Hara is terrific in South Pacific, and here I go again about A Catered Affair, but I thought Faith Prince gave a stupendous performance in that show. But I don't think she has a chance to win. I'm not sure how these things work. Patty's presumed to be the winner, and then maybe if there's too much time between that presumption and the actual voting, who knows what happens.
All those votes drifting to Carrie Butler and Xanadu. All right, a leading actor in a musical?
Leading actor in a musical, Daniel Evans, Sunday in the Park with George, Lin-Manuel Miranda, In the Heights, Stu, Passing Strange, Paulo Jot, is it Jot?
Shot. Paulo's Shot.
Paulo Jot, South Pacific, Tom Wopat, A Catered Affair.
Michael?
I think it's Paul Lojat, or however you say it. He's very cute. He brings down the house with "This nearly was mine."
So do you.
Any need for an understudy here? And Stu is fantastic, but they'll say, "Oh, he kind of plays guitar and plays himself."
And plays too, yeah.
Yeah. And Jesse, Tom Wopat is your choice for...
No, he's very good. It's a supporting role, in my opinion.
But we should say Tom Wopat gives a great turn
great.
at the end where he
He is
cracks up
terrific.
and shows
He's
his
terrific.
anger.
If all things
It's
were
a very
fair,
strong category.
and you were picking the best actor, it would be Tom Wopat. He does a wonderful, wonderful acting job, but it's going to go to Paulo.
Yeah,
lovely
I agree
Paulo.
with Susan. Paulo Zot's shot.
Just like a gun.
Shot. His acting is fairly stiff on stage. I mean, he's not like a natural.
But he's
he
just
sings
so good-looking.
and he sings beautifully. I didn't sense a lot of chemistry between
Yeah.
the two of them, though.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Well, she didn't need to be there, but he had it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't sense a lot of chemistry between the two of them. I thought there was more chemistry between him and Bloody Mary at certain points.
But now, we were actually almost out
I
of
do
time.
want to say, though, just a quick thing
Yes.
about Stu, though, because I thought that one of the big thing that makes Passing Strange work is Stu. I mean, he is a wonderfully theatrical character. He's very charismatic, and you can't take your eyes off him when he's just this big entity right there in the center of this very entertaining musical.
No, and I think Passing Strange may get best score.
I hope it does. I think it's the most complicated, sophisticated, and rock and score.
I don't
out
think
there.
I think for that reason it won't.
Do you think it'll be Lin-Manuel
what do you think
Miranda?
I think it'll be in the Heights for score, and then I think they're going to want to give something to Passing Strange, although that suggests a mentality that probably isn't there, and either Daniel Breaker, featured actor, or perhaps the book, such as it is. I mean, it is very well put together.
And Michael, what do you think for best score?
I think Passing Strange will get score because, like you say, they want to give it something, and I think In the Heights will win book.
Oh.
Really?
Interesting, no?
I agree with
I would
Jesse.
say with book. I think Douglas Carter Bean's going to win.
That's
book
right.
for
I was
Xanadu.
just going to say, I agree with
I better go into hiding.
I agree with Michael.
Yeah, no, I think that's the one thing that Xanadu gets is Douglas Carter Bean's book because the voters seem to think it's funny and sassy and satirical.
And maybe my beloved revival play, Top Girls, will get something with Martha Plimpton getting an award, although Rodney Reed and August Osage was also wonderful.
Very quickly, just in terms of the Tony Award telecast, I read somewhere that Lion King and what else?
Rent.
Rent and Lion
Rent will
King
be-
are going to be on it.
They
So
will.
are they basically saying, this is a year full of stuff that people don't know about, so let's put on 10-year-old.
What?
Well, they may as well do a
shows.
low dolly then.
They're
Why
really
don't they just
opening,
rerun the Tonys from '96?
but they're opening the floodgates, and this could cause a problem in
This could cause a
Tony
big problem.
telecasts to come, if there are Tony telecasts
But
to come.
I think we're going to get to the point, though, where the Tonys will open consistently with things like Wicked. They will open with the Phantom of the
That's
Opera
what I'm
and Wicked.
saying.
Because America knows these shows. They
Right.
don't know these new shows now. And is that such a bad thing for the Tonys? Why can't
No,
they crack
because
it open
how are
and
they
play
going to
around
learn
with it?
about the new shows if they don't show the Fabulous Stew?
Well, you've got to bring people in with the shows that they know. So I think I for one think it's great that they're finally breaking free of this rigid formula of how to put on a Tony show that they've been putting on for years and years, only to watch the ratings plummet.
That would be great if they do it well.
Yeah, we shall see what we should see. And one last thing I want to say is this is the first year that they are giving Tony Awards for the best sound design, and the sound design is going to, full disclosure, my friend Scott Lair for South Pacific, and I'm really happy.
Well, we never did Best Actress in a Drama.
yes, all right.
I think for Best Actress in a Drama, the winner will be Deanna Dunnigan for August, Osage County. I think she gives an astounding performance as the lacerating mother of the clan who tells everybody like it is, because she's on a lot of pills. And Amy Morton.
Like my co-host.
Yeah. Amy Morton from the same play has a lot of support as well.
All right. Just before we go, guys, I just want you to tell me your favorite performance, moment, number, something from this season that sticks in your mind. Patrick?
Can you go with them first?
Do you have one? Jesse?
Yes, the eternally unpopular opinion, but there is a moment in A Catered Affair where, believe it or not, it is silent for 50 seconds to a minute on stage as Faith Prince makes an important decision in her life. It's a musical. It's silent. You take the joke. Still, it was one of the most riveting things I've ever seen on a
You didn't hear
Broadway
me
stage.
ruffling with my candy, taking it out of the plastic wrapper?
Michael, your big moment of the season?
Every moment of Patti LuPone and Gypsy. I mean, there were times when her performance literally took my breath away. That's such a cliche, but I sat there going, did she just do that? That's what theater's about.
Let me quickly ask you, though, with that performance, what is that she's doing we haven't seen other people do with Mama Rose?
Well, the biggest criticism is she's playing herself. What does that mean? Does Patti LuPone wake up and go, this time for me? I mean, nobody's really like that. She's bringing herself to the role. That's what actors do. But I just thought she captured the character's sexiness, charm, overbearingness,
And craziness, too.
All in one moment.
Yeah,
all in a 30-second. She can turn on a dime. That's what's so amazing, is that she's this battered woman, and suddenly she's this sexy woman in her scenes with Boyd Gaines.
Yeah.
And then she's this really sort of loving mother. She really loves these kids, even as she's destroying them.
Yeah.
And I think she has that thing that great actresses had, like Bette Davis, who weren't afraid to be unapologetically mean and ambitious and driven and monsters.
Or Stu.
In a way. Or Stu.
Your favorite moment, Michael, of what you saw?
My
You didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything this season.
The ad for Boeing was terrific.
Well, and I'd like to add both Conleth Hill and Jim Norton.
We didn't mention The Seafarer,
who were
which was
both
terrific.
absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I would have to say, of
nominated
all
actors.
some of the things I saw this season, I thought the most effective evening in the theater for me was The Seafarer, with that wonderful, wonderful cast.
I would agree.
And I think one of them might win the best supporting actor.
All right, well, thanks, guys, for lending us your insights. We'll see you again next year, when I hope we'll have a little more interesting races. Patrick Pacheco from the Los Angeles Times, New York One on Stage, and who's now writing musicals himself. Good luck with
I'm
that,
impaled
Patrick.
on that fence that I'm jumping over, Michael.
Yes, exactly. And when your shows are up for nominations,
Oh, I can only wait.
we'll be predicting
to
doom
tune in.
and gloom for you. Michael Musto of The Village Voice at Headline News. Do you read when there's an earthquake in China? They bring you on to read that sort of thing.
They break me in to say Britney shaved her head again. Yeah, it's the important stuff.
And Jesse Green, whose work we do miss in the New York Times, and we can read you
Soon in New York Magazine.
New York Magazine. All right, thanks guys for being our guests tonight on Theater Talk.
Thank you.